So we've asked Dr. Azmi how the manifestos will sway voters' opinion, but what does the data say? So now let's bring in my colleague Hafiz Marzukhi, who has the latest results of a survey conducted by UUM, University Utara Malaysia. And one of the questions posed to respondents were, how do you make your decision? What will you vote for in GE15? Hafiz, over to you.
Indeed, Cynthia, that is the question that everyone is asking. And of course, here, UUM provided us a snapshot of what the sentiment is. And you can see here the question asked was, I will vote in GE15 because of, and you can see it's split almost evenly over here. But of course, the highest is 36.9. They will vote in GE15 because of political parties, followed by manifestos or issues at 34.3% and candidates 28.8%. Of course, it's split three-way here, about 33%, with things leaning more towards political parties and manifestos. Candidates seem to be at the losing end. But if you were to see the state level, you can see the breakdowns. Most states or territories tend to follow either political parties or manifestos of issues. These are the things that matters the most to the voters over here. Then, if you can see, female candidate support, all slightly more than 30%, although Pahang seems to be a bit low on the lower end over there with 32.38%. Of course, young candidate supports all more than 50%. And confidence towards economic recovery, of course, I would say is a very pessimist outlook to the economy. But that's fair, because if you were to look at the other question that was also asked during the survey was, in your opinion, will Malaysia's economy recover within the near future? You can see clearly 52.8% said no, unsure 30.8%, 16.4% are very optimistic, they said yes. Moving on, we also want to look at the most trusted leaders. You can see here all the leaders who are contesting in this GE15 are all named over here. And you can see the highest here is Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, President of Perikatan Nasional at 20%, followed closely by the leader of the coalition of Pakatan Harapan, Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, 19.2%. Former UMNO President Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak in third place, 11.3%. Tan Sri Abdul Hadi Awang, President of PAS, at 10.3%. What are the interesting things from this particular survey is that Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, which is the incumbent Prime Minister, is only at 9.5%, and the leader of UMNO, Datuk Sri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, is 0.8%. And that is interesting as we look at which party should govern Malaysia if GE15 is held today. It flips. Now, UMNO has the most with 32.7%, followed by PKR, 26.1%, and then you can see here PAS and Bersatu following closely behind, 17.9% and 15%. And this is quite an interesting mix, because it creates a situation where the leader may not be popular, but the party may be popular, and then we can relate it back to what matters the most to voters when it comes to voting. And lastly, of course, another snapshot that was taken in this particular survey is, of course, about future national leaders. And you can see here, right here, Khairi Jamaluddin, the candidate for Sungai Buloh, is in the lead with 34.9%. Then you can see others trailing closely. Rafizi Ramli, 15.7%, and Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman, President of MUDA, at 15.2%. Of course, we want to know more. These are all data, and it's only snapshots of the sentiment of the voters. But of course, Cynthia, you would like to speak to an analyst to understand more about what's behind this survey. Back to you.
Right. Thank you, Hafiz, for that. Now let's bring in Professor Dr. Azizuddin Mohd Sani, whose team carried out the sentiment survey. Doctor, one interesting finding there, as Hafiz pointed out, is that while Barisan Nasional remains the favourite party among respondents, but when we look at the leaders survey, Tan Sri Muhyiddin appears to be the most trusted. What does this mean? Will this be an advantage for Perikatan in the seats that they are contesting in G15?
I think if you look on the survey, I think based on either the voters choose political party or candidates or manifesto, they choose political party. So meaning that even though probably the leaders, of UMNO or Barisan Nasional is not receiving, respondent, which I think may refer to leader like Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim or Muhyiddin Yassin, but in terms of political parties, they are very they are meaning that there is more support to the political party. So meaning in that case, actually in the case of Malaysia, I think if you look at the trend, not only through the survey that captured the trend, but in the previous trend actually also you can see that political party actually the one that being chosen by most voters in Malaysia, because that's why I think in the case of many countries, even in this context, leaders normally, even though it's popular, but but political party can also popular and people will vote for political party in the election. So this actually survey just only capture, even though just a survey that capture the sentiment, but actually it can translate into the voting. Meaning that when it comes to the generation this 19 November, I think people will prefer to vote for political party rather than candidates. Because what I'm saying is that our system is a bit different. Our system is a bit different, even though the leader might be popular, but because in election, the voters actually will vote for political parties. So that's, I think, makes it interesting. So, and normally they won't know about candidates, in the constituency, but because they know about party, they will vote for party. So that's why I think in terms of the leader now, I think the more relevant is the political parties.
If I can stop you just quickly, your thoughts about the Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi's factor, because he seems to be languishing in terms of trusted leaders among the people that you have surveyed. How will the Zahid Hamidi factor affect support for Barisan Nasional?
Yeah, I think in general there's a less support to Zahid Hamidi. In fact, I think because for Barisan Nasional, I think they already mentioned that their poster boy the incumbent Prime Minister is going to be the next Prime Minister if Barisan Nasional be in power again, or lead the countries. So I think I'm not sure what's the arrangement in Barisan Nasional right now. If they think about to change the leaders, meaning that to change the Prime Minister if something happens to the arrangement after the elections. But it's clear in this survey that I think the Prime Minister is more popular than the presidents of UMNO. So I think, but still, the reality, what we can see in Malaysia actually, even though the leader is not popular, but political party is popular. That I think very interesting to observe.
All right.
Which is, I think, the party I think will decide who's going to be the Prime Minister after this.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Azizuddin, for that insight and also the survey. And we'll have you again more to discuss further. Thank you so much.